Well, it looks like Trump's tough talk towards Mexico is actually working ahead of schedule because the new president of Mexico, Claudia Sheinbaum, is actually taking some preemptive measures to clean up their country, but also taking some measures towards gun owners in the country that I think will actually fail miserably. Now, of course, I'm going to give you my opinion and kind of talk about the little feud that is going on between Trump and Claudia Sheinbaum and how that interesting dynamic has kind of left gun owners somewhere in the middle. So we're going to talk about it. I'm going to give you my opinion, and of course I want to hear yours as well, no matter what it is, if you agree or disagree with me. Totally fine. Let's go ahead and jump right in. Now, a little backstory. Mexico has been blaming gun owners, essentially, and the gun manufacturers here in the United States for supplying guns to the cartel in their country. Now, interestingly enough, the cartel in their country have been running that country essentially for many years, right? They have politicians, some police, judges, all on the payroll. But all of a sudden, it's gun manufacturers' issue in the United States. This is the first time that another country has ever sued gun manufacturers here in the U.S. Now, Mexico is actually claiming that Colt is promoting their guns to the cartel because they have a Hispanic revolutionary on the side of one of their revolvers. The face of Emiliano Zapata is on some of their revolvers, but that's kind of a respect thing towards the Hispanic culture and their love of revolvers, right? And so I find it hard to believe that this case is still going forward. It kind of fell off and then it was revamped, and now they're going to have some hearings, statements, whatever in March. But I find it almost impossible that they'll be able to hold gun manufacturers responsible, first of all, for a problem that's been going on now for decades, but also it's really hard to prove intent. So to say that gun manufacturers in the US would love nothing more than to illegally sell guns to border gun shops because they're just hurting for sales that much and they're willing to risk it all for that specific market sounds pretty silly. Now, at the heart of this, you have the cartel, you have Mexico's lack of actually cleaning their country up now for a very long time. But then you also have illicit substances that are coming into the United States. You know which ones these are specifically. That is actually taking the lives of a lot of Americans. So Trump said, hey, we're going to impose a 25% tariff on anything coming in from Mexico if you guys don't clean this issue up.
The word tariff to me is the most beautiful word in the entire dictionary. We're going to tariff the hell out of them.
So you have Mexico blaming gun owners or the gun manufacturers, and of course we are blaming Mexico for bringing in these illicit substances. So it's kind of this trade war, this black market trade war essentially that both sides would like to end. So do I necessarily believe that all of these guns are coming from the United States? No. Do I know that some of them are? Well, yeah, but these people are breaking United States law in order to smuggle these guns back into Mexico. And there was a video I found that showed how easy it is for them to do that. So in my mind, why not take it upon yourself to strengthen your side of the border and make sure that you're scanning vehicles, especially with videos like you're seeing right now that show that, hey, you pull the back seat up, you unscrew the gas tank cap, because a lot of gas tanks are accessible inside of, cars, where you can just, they're underneath the seat right there. So you pull the carpet back, you have access to the gas tank, and it's very easy to kind of hide guns in there. But it's even easier knowing that they're not really checking these cars at port of entry. It's more of a rudimentary type of search, and then the secondary searches might mean that they check the trunk or they might look inside your car, but anybody that has half a brain cell isn't going to just put those guns in the trunk and say, all right, guys, thanks, have a nice day. And gun shops that are near the border, maybe there are some that kind of know what's going on. But look, if somebody comes in and they pay, I don't know, $15,000 cash or $20,000 cash for, you know, a bunch of AKs or Barretts, or yeah, I guess the Barrett is a popular gun that these cartels like to buy. It's probably going to throw some red flags to them, right? And any good gun shop that is obviously doesn't want to go to prison and wants to keep their license and do things on the up and up is not going to just be selling guns to any and everybody, especially if there's some kind of red flag during the purchase where they think it might be some kind of straw purchase. These guys are pretty good, man, and they know what to look out for, because they see this kind of stuff every single day, especially these places down on the border. So again, I'm not saying it's not happening. I'm not saying that at all. But what I am saying is that people are breaking the law in order to do this. It's not gun manufacturers. It's not most gun shops. It's a very select few of people that are deciding they're going to break the law in order to do this. So to blame gun manufacturers is just absolutely ridiculous. Now, Mexico actually had a pretty big bust recently. It was like 23,000 pounds, I believe, of this illicit substance that I'm talking about. And of course, we've had bigger busts on our side of the border, bigger than anything like that. But still, for a country that doesn't necessarily do this all the time, that is a pretty big bust. And that's hopefully some Americans' lives that were actually saved by that not coming over. The problem is when you get people addicted to this, it's really hard to get them off. So that's where on our side we got to do better with treatment and getting these people better and getting them off of it, because they're going to be searching for other things. If it's not illicit stuff coming in from Mexico, it will be other things that they'll be searching for. So that's a problem that we have to focus on in getting those people better for sure. The other move that the president of Mexico is taking is that they're doing a gun buyback program. Now, this is really interesting. They're setting up these spots where people can come in and turn in their guns. And they say, hey, there's no retribution. We're not going to be asking questions. We're just going to give you money. And that's it. Hell, they're even offering to buy back the toy guns from kids and give them more instructional toys. Sounds pretty ridiculous, but it's what they're doing. The money they're offering for these guns, though, could actually come back to haunt them in a way, because even though these guns are being destroyed, essentially what you're doing is you're setting up incentives for people to traffic more guns into your country. They're giving like $1,200 in pesos, like $1,200 US for AKs. Well, some of the cheapest AKs you can get out there are under $600. So anybody, again, with half a brain cell could realistically buy a bunch of those, right? If you say they're already getting away with that and they're already getting into their country, what's to make them think, hey, we can actually profit off this deal? Even if there's a limit, think about all of the people that they could potentially put on a payroll, all the people that are already smuggling back and forth, where they could say, okay, we need X amount of AKs, ARs, whatever, and boom, there you go. Now they're actually profiting off the gun buyback program. It just seems like an exorbitant amount for AK specifically, and it's not like they name specific AKs. You know, it's not just high-end AKs get $1,200. It's just AKs. I think it's $430 for revolvers. It just says revolvers, which is actually kind of a low amount. But again, you can get some revolvers for well under that. So they may be creating another issue. And let's just be honest, is this really going to fix the issue? You're in a country that only has one gun shop. It's not like Australia, where you had a bunch of gun owners already, then they do mandatory buybacks, and you're essentially taking the rights of these people away. In Mexico, they don't really have a right to own a firearm. There's one gun shop in all of Mexico. They do like 50 permits a year. It's really nothing. The problem is focusing on the cartels. And Trump has even said as much, as far as sending in troops to deal with the cartel. They are essentially taking the lives of Americans every single day. I mean, every single day. Video after video after video. You can find so many videos of young people's lives being taken, right? Of, money being laced with this stuff. Kids accidentally overdosing, and they didn't even realize that it was on their hands, right? This is a very powerful thing that, again, is taking the lives of tens of thousands of people every single year right here in our country. So I do understand where he's coming from. Hopefully it doesn't get to that point. Hopefully Mexico can do more now with their new leadership to take care of the problem. But will they? I don't know, because it seems like for the longest time Mexico has been going back and forth with these politicians, and none of them seem to get the job done. They all seem to kind of revert back to what they were doing before and just kind of live with the problem. The other part of this is, why not give your citizens the chance to own, have, carry firearms so they can protect themselves against the cartel? If you know you're the only people that have guns, then you know that you have the majority of the power, and so they can just, at will, basically create as much violence as they want. Give your citizens a chance to actually protect themselves and fight back, the ones that want to. The last thing I will say is, we've given billions of dollars to this country too, by the way, to help ease in the issues that they have, and it's literally gotten us nowhere except for them suing our manufacturers, trying to blame the problem on everybody other than themselves. So this is on Mexico to deal with that problem before we would ever have to step in. That's just my opinion, though. And I think that they are at the root of what's going on here. It's not gun manufacturers. It's not Trump's tariffs. It's not even him talking about sending in troops. We shouldn't have to do that at all. They need to take care of what's going on in that country. And even if it costs them a lot of money, because that's the other part of it. The cartel is the biggest employer in Mexico. They depend on these people, and that's why you never see anything ever get done. So stop blaming gun owners, stop blaming gun manufacturers. The buyback program seems like a freaking joke. It just seems like a way to generate more money for the cartel, probably. It all seems like a joke with me. They need to get to the root of the problem. We all know what that is, and so do they. That's my opinion, but I'd love to hear yours. No matter if you agree or disagree with mine, let me know what you think down below. If you like what I do, consider subscribing. See you in the next one, and as always, hold 'em down.